To finish up the notes that we took today, I'm going to do two problems of elimination and then the last word problem. For number 7 on the applications page, which asks us to use elimination, the second equation is not in standard form, so we would need to set x and y on the same side so that we are able to eliminate one of the variables. This becomes negative 2x plus 7y equals 8. That way the x's are lined up, the y's are lined up, and the coefficients at the end are lined up. So I'm going to multiply the top equation by 2 and the bottom equation by 5. They already have opposite signs, so we're good to go there. So we get 10x minus 12y equals 6, negative 10x plus 35y equals 40. Add them together. The x terms cancel out, and we're left with y equals 46. So y is 2. You can plug that into either equation. I choose the second one. So 7 equals 2, 2x plus 8, 14 equals 2x plus 8. You subtract 8 from both sides, 6 equals 2x, so x is 3. And remember to always write your answer as a coordinate. Okay, for number 8, again, both of these are not in standard form. So to get the x's and y's on the same side, I'm going to add 8y to both sides and also move 18 over to the right side to get negative 18. In this one, I can just move the x term over and get negative 9x plus 5y. And as with the other one and other ones still in class, they don't really eliminate easily. So I'm just going to multiply the top by 9 and the bottom by 10. So equation becomes 90x plus 72y equals negative 162. Bottom equation becomes negative 90x plus 50y equals 40. And you add them together, the x terms cancel out. The y term becomes 122y equals negative 122, which gives us y equals negative 1. So even though we're getting very large coefficients throughout the whole problem, that doesn't mean anything about your answer. We actually get negative 1 in the end. I'm going to plug that into the second equation. 4 plus 9x equals 5 times negative 1. 4 plus 9x equals negative 5. Subtract 4 on both sides, and you get 9 equals negative 9. So x is also negative 1. So our answer is negative 1, negative. Okay, and the last problem I'm going to do is a word problem. And in class, we did number 9, which was an amount versus money equation, where they give you two different topics that we're talking about, two different ways to measure what you're buying. Number 10 was a situation versus situation, where they give you two different scenarios. Number 11 is what we call just a change problem, where they use pennies, nickels, dimes, quarters. And a lot of people get tricked on these because they don't actually use the values of pennies and nickels. That's what you have to do here. So it says Kent has a collection of pennies. Well, we know pennies are 1 cent, and nickels with a value of $1.98. So we have 1 cent pennies plus 5 cent nickels, and altogether it made $1.98. We have to use how much each coin is worth because we're talking about money in the end and how much money. The number of pennies he has is. When you see is, that means equal. So all they said is pennies is. Pennies equals 5 less than means I'm taking 5 away from something, not necessarily saying 5 minus, but I'm saying 5 less than something that they're about to talk about. 5 less than twice the number of nickels, which can be labeled 2n. How many of each coin does Kent have? This is the perfect situation to use substitution. because we already know what P is equal to. So a lot of times we use elimination in word problems, but in this case it works out for substitution. So everywhere I see a P, I'm going to replace it with 2n minus 5. Gives me 0.01 times 2n minus 5 plus 0.05n equals 1.98. All right, you can multiply. And when you multiply, 0.01 times 2n gives you 0.02n minus 0.05 plus 0.05n equals 198. If you want to get rid of the decimals, you can multiply this entire equation by 100, which is going to move all of the decimal places over 2 decimal places. And it might make it easier, it might not, it's up to you. We end up with 2n minus 5 plus 5n equals 198. 2n plus 5n gives us 7n minus 5 equals 198. You'll add 5 to both sides, so we get 7n equals 203, and then divide by 7 on both sides, and we get that n equals 29. Although we're talking about money here, you cannot get a decimal as an answer because it says how many of each coin does Kent have. So nickels and pennies, it's how many of each. So we have 29 nickels, and if we have 2 times that, take away 5, that's going to give you 53